All right, so I would like to point out that you may want to look at page 271 on page 271, table 3.2. That will help you figure out what I'm talking about. For example, one, I'm going to explain a lot what you'll see on table 3.2 right now, just verbally. And so, anyways, we're interested in determining the far left and far right behavior of a polynomial function based on what we'll see is if we have an even or odd function and also the leading term. So that's how table 3.2 is broken up, and I'll explain that now. So what we'll notice is that if we have we can either have an even or odd function. So to determine if we have an even or odd polynomial function, we want to look at the leading term. So let's just circle the leading terms right now for all A, B, C, and D. So the leading term here, 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 and notice that all of these are in the standard form where it's in descending order as you go down. X cubed, x cubed, x squared, x, and then constant. And yeah, for A, B, and C. But D, it's not in standard form. Notice that it goes constant, x squared, x to the fourth. So this is actually the leading term. And include the negative. Include the sign in front. So here are the leading terms. So notice that we have an odd. We have odd function here, and we have an odd function here. We have an even function here and an even function here. So the way I got that is just looking at the power, the exponent of this term. Notice that this has a 3, so that's an odd number. 3 odd, 4, 4, even. Okay, so we've determined odd, or the even or odd for A, B, C, and D. Now we just need to figure out the sign of the leading coefficient. So notice that that this would be a 1. So you actually don't see it here, and also here this is actually -1. And then we also have 1/2, and we have -2. So so we want to look at the sign. Is it negative or is it positive? So in this case, we have positive, and here we have negative. Here we have positive, and here we have negative. Okay, so we have odd positive, odd negative, even positive, even negative. Hopefully that makes sense. And really, all we really need to do is look at the leading term and its coefficient to determine if it's how the far left and far right behavior is acting for the polynomial function. Okay, so now let's go ahead and use this information to find our result. If you look at table 3.2, what we'll notice is we have, okay, well, let's just do A first. A, we have an odd, and notice that odd, if you're looking at table 3.2, is the second column. It says n is odd. So so in that case, if we have an odd function, it's either you have like the opposite going on each end. The left end will be different than the right end. So it's either looking like this, or it is looking like this. So it's either one of those two based on n is odd. But then we look at the sign. So notice that it's positive for A. The leading coefficient is positive. That is the first row. It says A sub n is greater than 0 on table 3.2. So we're in the first row, so we end up with the following result. So that is the end behavior. So the far left is going down, and the far right is going up. So that's how this function is acting. All right, so let's look at B now. So for B, we have an even function. So that's the first column. So we're going to have something that looks like that. And then we're going to have something, or we're going to have something that looks like that, where you have the same thing going on each end, the left and right end. It's either both going up or both going down on the left and right side. So then we would look at the positive and use the positive to determine which row we're in. So we are in the first row, again, because we have a positive. So that tells us that we have this solution. Okay, so we don't have those two solutions. Now we have C. C we have odd. So odd tells us that we have this result or this result, where it has the opposite result on each end. And from this, we would want to then look at the negative. So the negative tells us it's a sub n is less than 0. So the leading coefficient is less than 0. So that tells us we're in the second row. So we have this result. Okay, and it's not this result. So it on the left end, it's going up, and on the right end, it's going down. And then lastly, we have D. D, we have an even function. So even, n is even, that's the first column. So we have either this result or we have this result. So it's the same going on, same thing going on the left and right side. But then we notice it's negative. So negative, a sub n is less than 0. We're in the second column. So that tells us we have this going on and not this. So they're both going down on the left and right side. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, we're looking at the end behaviors. So we really care about what's going on this side and this side. And right here and right here, right here and right here. It's not telling us what's going on in the middle. So it's not really we don't really care about what's going on in the middle. We just care about what's going on the ends. So as we can see, it's going down and down, up and up on the left side, down on the right side, down on the left side, up on the right side. So hopefully this makes sense. Let me know if you have any concerns about this, and I'll be more than happy to help.